Mr Speaker, I advise that we have 5,583 new cases and 4,039 positive rats. Tragically, there have been 5 deaths, 1 in aged care, and I know that all members of this House would pass on our condolences to the families of the deceased. We have 380 people in hospital and 30 in ICU. 11 are currently ventilated, Mr Speaker, and as we know, these numbers are coming down as we come off the wave. Our vaccine coverage, which is great news, 92.54% of Queenslanders have had their first dose and 90.61% have had their second dose. In terms of boosters, 63.11% of eligible population have received their boosters, and our 5 to 11-year-olds, 42.11%. Mr Speaker, when the story of this pandemic is written, it will show that no one completely escaped the impacts of COVID. But it will show some places fared better than most, and one of these places is right here in Queensland. Mr Speaker, the reason is clear. The vast majority of our state was vaccinated before COVID arrived. The credit for this belongs to every single Queenslander, but I'm proud that our government did everything possible to ensure our people were protected. We travelled the length and breadth of this state. We put vaccine hubs in schools, Bunnings and caravan shows. Our health workers went door to door in places where vaccine numbers were too low. When New South Wales confronted its outbreak, only 4% of its population was vaccinated. That ended in months of lockdowns and billions of dollars worth of lost business. But when COVID came to Queensland, 80% of Queenslanders were fully vaccinated. The data shows our decision to delay the start of school was absolutely the right one. The numbers of children infected is currently lower than the peak in mid-January. The number of teaching, health and emergency services staff infected is falling too. We are cautiously optimistic the number of hospitalisations and infections have peaked, which is why today I can make this announcement. Mr Speaker, from 6 p.m. Friday, the 4th of March, masks will no longer be required in most settings. You won't need them at work or in school or at the shops. Staff and patrons won't be required to wear them at cafes, pubs and restaurants. Mr Speaker, smiles are back. We can put our masks away. They'll still be needed on public transport, airports, in hospitals, disability care, prisons and aged care. If you feel vulnerable, you should wear one. If you want to wear one, you can. We are scrapping density limits that apply to weddings and funerals and the number of people you can have in your own home. There'll be no density limits in food courts, hairdressers, gyms, private venue hire and universities. In addition, bans on excursions, assemblies and visitors to schools will go as of March the 4th. As these restrictions ease, parents who are yet to have their children vaccinated might want to consider bringing those vaccinations forward. Mr Speaker, this is all about getting our lives back to a new normal. Normal does not include a televised daily COVID update. We will still publish COVID numbers every day, but from the first week of March, we will only see our Chief Health Officer if needed. Mr Speaker, the story of this pandemic is not yet over, but we hope a brighter chapter awaits. Thank you, Queensland.